This is stop number 5 on the FLW Pro Circuit season for 2020, and this is the Mississippi River pools 7, 8, and 9 out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. This is a fishery that I've heard so much about. It's a sprawling river system that has a lot of backwaters, all kinds of different types of structure and cover to fish, especially the shallow vegetation that I'd heard so much about. Lots of duckweed, lots of pads, lots of submerged and emergent vegetation, and it was a fishery that I was really looking forward to because I'm a shallow water power fisherman, and I love for throwing a frog, flipping, all those things that tend to do real well on the Mississippi River. So going into this event, I really thought that I had a great chance of not only maintaining my good position in the top 10 in points, but improving upon my position in the Angler of the Year standings. So this was a key tournament for me, and I needed to make sure that I performed this week. All right, guys, so we are here. Day one, we've had a little bit of a fog delay, about an hour and a half. Right now it's 8:30. We're supposed to launch here at 7, and you know I'm pretty excited to get out there, see what I've been able to find. Practice has been kind of tough. You know, the bite has not been what, from what I hear, this river is known for as far as the shallow water bite. It just hasn't been as great as it usually is. But I'm gonna essentially, you know, triple down on fishing grass, and whether that means frogging, throwing a diesel minnows, or throwing a chatterbait. I'm gonna rotate between those type of power fishing tactics, and I've got a lot of bites every day. You know, I'd say up to 15 bites every day, and if I can get those fish in the boat, and most of them are bass, that's one of the problems, is a lot of them are pike. But if I can get those fish in the boat, we should do pretty well. But overall, it's going to be a grinder of a tournament. It is going to be tough, but I'm excited for the challenge. So let's get out there, see what we can do. Hopefully we can catch 5 good ones today. So day one started just like any other tournament day. I was very optimistic. I had a plan. I was really excited to get out there, but I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. One thing that I need to mention right now is the fact that in this event, I really did not pay attention to the conditions that we were faced with. You know, usually I'm really good at staying on top of weather patterns as well as water level changes, and in this instance I really wasn't paying attention to all that, and that's a really dangerous thing because the main thing that I was doing during this event was throwing a frog. And if anybody knows anything about throwing a hollow body frog, it's that conditions can change, and during this first tournament day, all I could do was catch small fish, and also had fish that were biting but wouldn't get it in their mouth. So I caught several non-keepers, had probably a half dozen blow-ups where the fish would hit it multiple times but would never get it in their mouth. And so it was a very frustrating day. I worked extremely hard. I ended up fishing a lot of the key areas that I had found during practice, and really just tried to cover them very thoroughly and make sure that I didn't skip anything. And I really fully expected to at least come across a hot frog bite at some part of the day. I really didn't have too much else to fall back on. I didn't have a flipping pattern. I didn't have a smallmouth specific pattern that I could rely on. All I had was the frog bite, and unfortunately, this day was extremely difficult. Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to show you a bunch of great fish catches, especially on the frog, this was not the day for me. I threw that frog until my arm felt like falling off. I was throwing that Z-Man leapfrogs, and it wasn't the frog's fault. Believe me, that's a great frog. But unfortunately, I just was not fishing the right areas. I wasn't following those fish up with the rising water, and that's the reason why I only ended up getting one keeper bite at the end of the day. About time. It is about time. 3-pounder on the boat. Woo, man. After realizing that I made the classic mistake of putting all my eggs in one basket with that frog bite, I decided to go out the next day, just fish the moment and fish new areas, explore this river system and Pool 8, and really try different techniques. Of course, I threw in the frog when that technique was warranted, but I really wanted to mix in flipping and other techniques. I really wanted to junk fish today. I wanted to fish the moment and pay attention to all the conditions. So I set out that morning with several rods on the deck, including the frog, of course, the diesel minnows, chatterbait, as well as a flipping stick. And the flipping stick ended up being one of the key players for the day. There he is. Ah, mudfish. Oh, no, bass. Holy cow. He might go 14 inches. God, I thought that was a mudfish on the palmetto bugs. Right on. I think he's 14. Bama bug, palmetto bugs. Can't tell you how many fish I've caught on that this year. He's 14 and a half. Good deal. First fish. Already looking 1,000 times better than we were yesterday at this time. All right. So I'm just flipping this hardcover right now, and flipping this palmetto bugs and Bama bug with a 3/8 tungsten Fitzgerald weight, and of course that 4/0 Hayabusa HD hook. Pretty sweet combo. And then I'm using braid right now, but I've got you know, smackdown 65-pound smackdown braid on this one, and on some other rods, because we're flipping mostly hardcover, I've got fluorocarbon 25-pound test. There he is. Good one. Good one. There we go. Number 2. So on the other rods, I got 25-pound test Tatsu. Tatsu is nice because it that is definitely keeper number 2. I like the Tatsu because it's nice, soft and supple, and it feels thin. It feels like you're flipping 20-pound or less. But I'll stick with the braid right now because I feel like I can get a firmer hook set, you know, and if I'm not having too many problems with it digging into the wood, why not? It's a good start, man. Day 2, making adjustments. I've got as much as I did yesterday with 2 fish. It's gonna give me a little bit of confidence to do this throughout the day. And this log is like right at the mouth of this backwater here. And every once in a while you find a piece of cover that's kind of at the corner of a, you know, an area where the fish are living, and you can catch a few fish off of it. That's two keepers off of this tree. So after catching those 2 keepers, back-to-back flips, I was feeling pretty good. Never would have imagined it would be difficult to catch a limit on this day, but tournament fishing has its way of grounding you after feeling bulletproof, and unfortunately, I went about 5 hours without a single keeper bite from there. So, you know, late in the day, I had 2 fish in the box, and I had tried all kinds of different things. Probably fished the frog a little bit too much, but finally ended up fishing some kind of main slough banks that had undercut banks and some hard cover when I could find it, and ended up getting some bites, including this a smallmouth right here, which was the first smallmouth I weighed in the event. This smallmouth really keyed me in on the fact that I could possibly make up some ground flipping the main river in the last couple hours of the day, and hopefully, I was really hopeful that I could go catch a limit after this. After catching my 3rd fish, I was really motivated to catch my limit. I only had less than 2 hours to go, and so I really put the pedal to the metal and really started hitting it hard. Ended up fishing several different patterns, including trying to catch more fish on that undercut bank pattern, but ultimately I ended up finding a little bit of a pattern where 2 different creeks were converging. If there was grass mats there, I could get some frog bites in those grass mats, and ended up catching my 4th keeper in short order. And then soon after that, I don't have footage for it because my GoPro SD card ended up going out, but I ended up running to a spot where, believe it or not, I caught a fish in open water on an undercut bank with a frog, with the Z-Man leapfrogs, and ended up going to the same exact spot. Had very little faith that I was going to catch a fish, made a cast to the same exact spot I caught that fish in practice, and caught the same fish. It was pretty incredible, and that filled out my limit, and ended up going back to the scales with a little under 10 pounds, which combined with my day 1 weight of only 1 fish for a little bit over 3.5 pounds, really wasn't much. And obviously, with such little weight, I ended up finishing way down the list. I finished 157th, the worst finish I've ever had in a multi-day event. And that was a really big learning experience. You know, this was an event that I really had a lot of faith in myself to do well. I thought that this was going to be right in my wheelhouse, and look what happened. I got a little bit too confident. I didn't follow the conditions, didn't follow my gut, didn't diversify during practice, and this is what happened. I got a triple-digit finish, dropped down in the points a little bit, and so going into the final event of the regular season on Lake Erie, I needed to have a really good event. But that, you live and learn. Tournament fishing is all about taking your licks and getting back up and getting back after it, and so that's what I plan on doing. Thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate you guys watching these videos. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and make sure you check out these future videos coming up. I think they're going to be pretty exciting. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you guys out on the water.